The idea of meiosis versus mitosis. Cells then are going to cells need to reproduce. We need to reproduce in order to grow. Our cells need to reproduce in order to grow, in order to replace cells, and in order then to, once our cells get too big. Okay? Now, so our cells have to clone themselves. So one of the ways that all our body cells, our somatic cells, do is by mitosis, where we start out with one diploid cell. Here we have a cell with 6 chromosomes. Before that cell gets that signal to go through mitosis, because it's an interphase, it has to get a signal. You cut yourself, the lack of contact, of inhibition, causes your cells to grow. A growth factor causes your cells to get that signal. A hormone might cause that cell to get that signal. It produces cyclin, CDKs, boom, it goes to the S phase of interphase, and it replicates our DNA. Why? So we have exact copies. So prophase. It replicates and coils into chromosomes, so they're more compact, easier to separate. They line up in the middle. We split them. We get we go through cytokinesis. We get 2 brand new identical diploid daughter cells. The cells have cloned. Think about when that happens. Our T cells, when the helper T cell meets a macrophage, it gets a signal. It then clones itself to the same helper T cell with all those things. It sends a signal to the B cells to clone themselves, to the killer T cells to clone themselves, to the memory T cells to clone themselves, to go through mitosis. So mitosis is a great example of cellular response, and they send signals in between. Okay? This is all well and good. This is how we create body cells with exactly the same number of chromosomes. You brush your teeth, you took out cheek cells, they had 46 chromosomes. You need those cells to have 46 chromosomes. However, the problem would be if our sperm and egg cell had 46 chromosomes. Because 46 and 46 gives you a zygote with 92. So we have to have a different process, and that process is called meiosis. Meiosis is also called reduction division. What are we reducing? We're reducing the chromosomes from 46 in humans, from diploid to haploid, to 23. Okay? Division means we divide the cells, and in fact we divide the cells twice. So here's what happens. A cell in the testes or the ovaries gets a signal, from testosterone or estrogen, from a hormone from the endocrine system. That cell's going to now start going through meiosis. What does it do? Well, the same thing. The nucleus, it replicates our DNA. So DNA gets replicated. Now we've doubled the amount of DNA. Those chromosomes coil up and thicken. The difference in meiosis is our homologous pairs line up and match. So all of our chromosome number 1s are together. Our 2s, our 3s, our 4s, our 5s. It makes it far more organization. If you think about it, if I told you, okay, you have 23 pairs of shoes in your closet, I need you in 30 seconds to get one of each pair into the pile, into different piles. If they were all in one big pile, would you be able to separate them effectively and without a mistake? No. If they were lined up in pairs, left, right, left, right, left, right, wouldn't you be able to just separate them like that? Yeah. That's exactly what our chromosomes are. Chromosome 1, chromosome 2, 2, 3, 3. They line up in metaphase. Okay. The other thing that happens in prophase, they cross over. Some of the chromosomes, some of the genes actually switch places. So you may have had a gene from mom that was a brown-eyed gene, and a gene from dad that had blue eyes, and now they're going to switch. And so on mom's chromosome, you may have a blue-eyed gene. On dad's chromosome, you may have the brown-eyed gene, which you didn't even get that gene from mom or dad in the first place. You got it from the other parent. So you have crossing over. It increases variation. They can switch. They line up, and then they split. This is taking the left shoe, the right shoe. You split them. We now have 2 daughter cells that are haploid. They have half the number of chromosomes. So here, there were 6 chromosomes in this picture. There are only 3 in this picture. They're still replicated. And they're non-identical, because we've got the brown-eyed and the blue-eyed, and the brown-eyed and the blue-eyed. And then they're crossed over. So these are totally non-identical. They go through a second process, meiosis 2. It's exactly like mitosis. They coil up, they line up, the sister chromatids split, and you get 4 haploid cells that are non-identical. And then these cells in men will turn into sperm, and in women the process of turning into eggs. A little bit different. You just need to know that one cell ends up giving you 1 egg. Make sense?
Yeah. So it goes from diploid to haploid?
Yes. So meiosis goes from, mitosis is, let's go back 1, two end to two end, diploid to diploid, and you produce two identical daughter cells. And this is in somatic, in all our body cells except for our gametes. Meiosis goes from two end to end. During meiosis 1, you produce two non-identical daughter cells. And then meiosis 2 goes from end to end. You produce four non-identical daughter cells. That's the sort of big picture. And again, this is a good cell response to hormones, which are signals. 20 cells unit. And that way, sperm egg 23, zygote 46. We keep consistency. Good. What else?